Welcome back to Justice. Earlier, I sat down with President Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., to talk about his reaction to the Comey testimony, how he feels about the left's endless attacks on his family, and his dad's tactics on fighting the war on terror. Take a look. Donald, thanks so much for being with us. You know, it's been a very interesting couple of days, and I've known you a long time.
Yeah.
You've abided by that pledge that you took, where after the inauguration, you were going to focus on the business, you weren't going to get involved in Washington, and now it seems things have changed. Why?
Well, I don't think things have changed. I always said I was never getting involved with the administration.
Right.
But I'm a politically minded guy. I always have been. I was way before we ever got into politics or my father got into politics. But, you know, when I see what's going on right now, when I see what went on for 10 months with the Russia nonsense and the smear, and then we see what happens on Thursday, it's like, give me a break. I mean, they're literally spent 10 months chasing a rabbit down a hole with essentially the sole purpose to try to take down my father. We were vindicated. I mean, totally.
Why do you say you were vindicated?
Look, listen, I think it's clear that, you know, everything that went on in the Comey testimony was basically ridiculous. They're saying, hey, he never asked me to stop a Russia investigation. When I hear the Flynn comments, you and I both know my father a long time.
Well,
when he tells you to do something,
yes,
guess what? There's no ambiguity in it. There's no, hey, I'm hoping. You and I are friends. Hey, I hope this happens, but you got to do your job. That's what he told Comey. And for this guy, as a politician, to then go back and write a memo, oh, I felt threatened. He felt so threatened. But he didn't do anything.
Especially when we found out that there is no collusion. But weren't you angry when Comey said...
Marco Rubio hit it best.
Yeah.
Honestly, he said, of all the things that were leaked, the only thing that wasn't leaked was that Trump was never under investigation because there's nothing there.
Right.
How come that's not leaked?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Let's talk about the leak.
It's pretty scary when you think about it. The only thing that's out there basically totally vindicating Trump from a 10-month witch hunt, that never makes it anywhere. I mean, I think his divisiveness, the way he handled things, everything that leads up to this that we've seen over the last few months, and now what we know about how he handled the Loretta Lynch thing, explains perfectly why he should totally be fired.
Did he lie under oath when he said...
Well, the dates seem very confusing to me. Based on what I saw in the New York Times and based on his claim that it was because of a tweet from my father the day after... That can't be the reason if it's based on a tweet when the New York Times had it. Listen, he's a very sophisticated political player, and he's playing the game, but I think he even got caught up in his own nonsense in this one.
And what about the idea of leaking? With all the leaks coming from within the administration, that Jim Comey, someone who's in charge of, you know, law enforcement in the United States, would consider leaking to a New York Times and not doing it himself, does that suggest to you that maybe he was responsible for some of the leaks?
Well, I think almost without question. I mean, he said he's a leaker. You know, if he did it this time, how many other times did they do it? I wish there was a follow-up for that. You know, maybe some of the senators up there aren't as quick-witted as they should be. But it's amazing that there wasn't. But, I mean, if the head of the FBI is saying, then he's saying, well, if I was a stronger individual, I may...
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
You're the head of the FBI.
Yeah,
you're not some
Lynch.
baby
well, wait a
pretending...
minute.
Like, does anyone believe this? I mean, and if he is, he's that guy. Like, he's not strong enough to say something that he believes is right, that he goes and runs a memo, then he leaks it to the New York Times. I mean, I can't imagine anyone actually believing that that happened.
And calling your dad a liar.
Listen, I think he's proven himself to be a liar in all of this. I think he's proven himself to be a dishonest man of bad character.
The mainstream media and the left and the Democrats are doing everything in their power for the last, you know, I don't know, 5 months since he's been in office, just calling him words like saying he's a blank holster, Stephen Colbert. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that is so contrary.
They've taken it so far. And, you know, listen, I see it and I've taken it personally. Perhaps that's why I've been more vocal about it lately, because, like, the lines have been crossed so much.
They went after Ivanka's business. They went after Eric's charity, $16 million for pediatric cancer. I've been there many times. They want Jared and their sites. And then the Baron with the bloody head. I mean, isn't this beyond anything you guys ever expected would happen?
You know, unfortunately, yes. And I mean, I think we went in with eyes pretty open. I mean, I don't think we're naive by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I think we knew it was going to be bad. But when I look at how bad it is, when I look at the conversations I have to, you know, think about having with my kids every night, hopefully they don't see it, but as they get older, they're more likely to see it. It's pretty sad because, you know, in the end, of all the people that ran, he's the only one that didn't need this job. My father didn't need this. He wanted to do this. He's 70 years old. He could do whatever he wanted for the rest of his life. But he's in there dealing with this, fighting for the people who elected him.
Terror. You know, your father's approach to terror is quite different from a lot of the leaders in Europe. Do you think that your father is the one who is going to have the ability to put an end to all of this?
Well, I mean, listen, let's make it more simple. He actually has an approach, which is, let's take these guys out. The others, they have no approach. Their approach is to sit back and do nothing. Their approach is to sit back and pretend there's not a problem. You know, keep calm and carry on. What does that mean? There are people blowing themselves up. There are people driving trucks through groups of people, killing them. This is not something that's just going to magically go away with hugs and kisses. Like, this is not, I mean, it's mind-boggling.
Okay.
You know, you have the people that talk about, oh, the only way to defeat terror is by not allowing yourself to be terrorized. Tell that to the victims.
All right, let me move to another issue. Tweeting.
Yes.
You have defended your father's tweeting, and there are those who say that his tweeting, you know, steps on his own message.
Well, listen, I think, honestly, until the media chooses to cover him honestly, in an unbiased, you know, their spin fashion, he's going to play monkey in the middle. He's just going to go right over the top, right to the people. And guess what? It works. And that's why they're so furious, because they are becoming more and more irrelevant every day. You can't get honesty. There's virtually no trust in the mainstream media these days. And so people are going to alternative sources. And if you go right to the source, as you would in anything else, you're going to get what he's actually thinking. You
have your father's energy. You have his smarts. You clearly can get very animated. You going to run for office?
No plans anytime soon.
No plans, but could you see yourself someday saying, this is so bad, it's time to get in there myself?
Listen, it affected him that way. And you say, you know what? If I can go in there and, you know, knock some heads around because I'll actually take on something instead of hide from it, much like we're talking about with the politicians as it relates to terror these days, you know what? Maybe you got to do it, but no time soon.
Donald Trump Jr., thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.